City of Ellsworth, December the 27th. We'll go ahead and say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, the first item on our agenda would be the consent agenda. It includes 3 items. It's got the water and sewer termination request, the approval of the December 11th City Council meeting minutes, and the approval of the December Airport Advisory Board minutes. Do you have any termination requests? No termination requests?
Is someone on Zoom?
Is
someone on Zoom?
Tyler. Tyler's on Zoom.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Tyler and Jessica are both on Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
Yeah, Tyler's still celebrating the Raiders' victory.
I'm here.
There you go.
It'll take him about a week to get over it, but he'll be back.
You don't talk about that here, Dan. It's not on the agenda.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the consent agenda, council meeting minutes of December 11th and the airport advisory board meeting minutes.
I'll second that. Councilor Hanson has made a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the approval of December 11th City Council meeting minutes and the approval of December Airport Advisory Board minutes. Council President Scritchfield has seconded that motion. Any concerns, questions? Okay, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Next section of our meeting is the petitions and delegations. It says, for all comments, please state your full name and whether you're an Ellsworth City resident. All comments are limited to 5 minutes per subject unless City Council has further questions. Would anybody like to come forward? Judge Swati, would you like to come forward now?
Thank you.
Yeah, come on up.
I'll try to keep this short.
Sure.
I have been notified of a possible violation of the tree planting restrictions next to the highways. Rather than fighting that at this time, I'm asking the council to consider changing that requirement. I got ready for this because I was thinking, I'd read an article about how beneficial trees are to the homeowners. Cutting down air conditioning costs. But when I Googled that to try to find the articles, I stumbled across lots more important things for the city of Ellsworth. There are basically between 9 and 12 benefits of tree canopies, depending which article you read. And I copied 3 articles. 2 of them are kind of the general benefits. One of them, when I printed it, I put the site at the top because it's so small you have to read it. When I printed it, it's so small you have to read it with magnifying glass. So it's a lot easier if you just Google that site, and the print is huge if you want to. But what I found was you can kind of divide the benefits into different. The benefits for the adjacent property owners are what I thought they were. That's the reduction in air conditioning costs. But there was one that I didn't know, and it's supported by quite a few different articles. It's an increase in the property valuation, depending on what study you show, but studies all across the nation show that it increases that. Then there's a general area for the public in general, the benefits. It's a decrease in air pollution, greenhouse gas emissions. And it's really beneficial if the tree canopy covers the street. If the trees are adjacent to the street, the more you have over the street, the better. Now, there's one caveat to that. If you have a heavy arterial road, you don't want the canopy closed because the heavier road travel, there's so much carbon dioxide and pollution that you're trapping it with the canopy. On regular streets, the canopy closes it and the trees can absorb it. The other benefit, that's two benefits. By that, you're fighting climate change and it really improves the health of the people that live near the trees. It cuts down on asthma. The public in general makes walkways more comfortable for pedestrians. I do a lot of walking and I can support that. Where you have trees over the sidewalks, you can tell like an instant temperature change. And the trees improve the psychological health of the people using the area. Now, for the city, this is the one that I think you really ought to consider. This is the one that stumped me. The main benefit is a tremendous reduction in the cost of maintaining pavement. And the stuff, it's a 60% reduction in pavement maintenance. And that's assuming that the city pays the costs of the tree planting and maintenance. In every article, there's tons of them, but I printed off one major one. But if you Google them, you can find them everywhere. And this gets back to for the city benefit, the increase in the property valuation doesn't just benefit the homeowner, it increases the tax base for the city. The other problem that we discussed is the flood control and drainage. Trees absorb 30% of the rain. They do that through their leaves and root systems. So that we have a problem with, and all cities have a problem with, because we got concrete everywhere. With reducing runoff and flooding, so that's it. And this is what I didn't have any clue. Tree canopies reduce traffic speed and road rage. So those are the ones I put out there. I'm just asking you to maybe refer this to Dustin or do your own research and come up with it. I would ask, this is what I wanted to add. When I was a kid, 156 wasn't extended that way. We came into town, and when you made the turn into 14 to come into town, big sign, welcome to Ellsworth, the forest city. And I remember a postcard, and I tried to find it online, and I don't know how they took it. It was a postcard showing, and Ellsworth looked like a forest. And if you think about all the elm trees that we had everywhere in this town that shielded every street, and the elm tree disease got most of them. I couldn't find that postcard. I found one. If you Google, you can find one postcard, 1908, looking down Douglas. And there's trees where the bank is now. There are trees on the main street where the buildings are down, but you can see the canopy once you get past where the Methodist church is. It wasn't over the road yet but the trees are big enough. So asking you to consider that and hold off citing me officially for the trees until because it's winter time, they're not gonna do anything anyhow, so. Thank you.
Thank you, Judge.
And I may leave.
Any questions? All right. Anybody else like to approach the council for the public comments? All right, Karen.
I'm Karen Schreiner, and I do live in the city. First of all, I want to thank you for the multi-way path. It is almost finished. There's a few concerns I have about where the bridge is and where the creek is, that a kid coming down it on a skateboard could go into the creek or go out into the highway. So that I am concerned about. But I'm very thankful for it that you guys finally finished it and completed the job earlier, thanks to Dustin. I have walked on part of it and it is really, really nice. It's wider than I thought. If you were really, really careful, I think you could drive it all down. It looks wider once you're on it than it did with them building it. When you're on it, it is really, really wide. So I want to thank you for that. So.
Thank you, Karen.
Permission to chime in, Mr.
Yeah, any questions? Go ahead.
We do have plans to, we examined a couple of different options for railing where that's at, so we've got plans to put railing. We're just gonna wait until the project's done.
Any other questions for Karen? Okay. Anybody else like to approach the council for the public comments? All right, nobody else. Okay, so moving on to new business, we have the Braden Hobby Walks Eagle Project Proposal. That is agenda item report 23-346. All right, Braden, come on up.
Hi, I'm Greg Bundle with Scouts ESA Troop 84. I'm here to present an Eagle Scout project proposal. My proposal to you is that I identify graves of military veterans and place military markers where if they are not there currently and replace damaged military markers with new ones. I'm seeking your support and I will need assistance with completing the project. If you are willing to support me, I will come back with Eagle Scout application to document the support. After that, I will need to get approval from the Dakota Council before I can actually get started with the project.
So Braden, the only question I had, this sounds like a great Eagle Scout project. Have you talked to the veterans groups
Yes, I have,
and they're supporting it?
yes.
American Legion already approved it, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, and then the VFW?
I don't know about that.
What about other veterans group between those two or?
Those are the only two in town that I'm familiar with. The closest DAV is either in Salina or in Great Bend.
Any questions for Braden? So you'll come back and we'll approve it then? Is that what you're saying?
No, I need to get your approval now, so then I'll come back with the application to document it.
Okay, all right.
Braden, what's your last name?
How it works?
All right, cool. I got it right.
So what do we need to do here, Melissa? Do we need a vote on the motion? Just make a motion.
I would approve a motion, Mr. Mayor. Or a question.
Sure.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the city council approval of Braden Hobby Walks Eagle Scout project to replace military veteran markers at Ellsworth Cemetery and Ellsworth Memorial Cemetery.
I'll second.
I'll second that.
All right, so Councilor Scritchfield has made a motion to approve Braden Hobby Walks Eagle project proposal to replace the military veteran markers in the two Ellsworth cemeteries for the purpose of completing his Eagle Scout project. Councilor Coates and Renard have basically tied for seconding that motion. Any questions or concerns about this project? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion carried, is confirmed. Braden, congratulations. You've gone through this step.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay,
Brady.
appreciate it. All right, moving on to, so this is, Tyler is gonna be here, to talk about, basically he's coming for one thing, is to find out whether the city council is interested in selling the parcel of land at 8th and Prospect. It's the big square, which has been used as a soccer field. So Tyler, do you want to come on up?
Council, thank you for having me today. My name is Tyler Hallman. I'm with Frontier Development Group. I think you have seen a packet from us, but I want to tell you just briefly about who we are, and then a little bit about our idea here in Ellsworth. So we are Frontier Development Group. We're based out of Manhattan, Kansas. We've been active there for a little over 10 years in the real estate market. Obviously do a lot of student housing there, but we've also branched out. We do some custom homes, we do some spec builds, we do workforce housing, and we do historic tax credit. About 5 years ago, we started looking at rural areas of our state and said, could we take the model that's working for us in Manhattan, Kansas, and apply that to rural areas? I'm from a small town. My wife and I choose to live in a small town today. We've seen firsthand how important rural areas in our state are, but we've also seen firsthand how underserved they are from an investment market, especially from a housing development market. A lot of the communities that we've gone into and that we've worked in, the driving force behind that has been employers. So a lot of the employers in the communities that we've worked in have said, hey, we can't hire people because we don't have available housing. And that has gone from rental housing to for sale housing and kind of the full view. So originally we were interested in Ellsworth because of your old VA hospital. Everybody that drives through town sees that thing. I started talking with Stacy about what could we do, and then Dustin about what could we do with that location. We've spent some money on an engineering study. We've been through the building several times and just determined that the cost that we would have into that to put a quality housing product there was not feasible. But Stacy, through those conversations, Stacy's done a great job of just introducing us to a lot of area employers here in town, and it really cemented the housing need that's here in Ellsworth. Really made us realize that, you know, there is a need. Employers do, you know, they're citing that they have a lack of, or they're not able to fill jobs because of a lack of housing here. So even though we kind of closed the chapter on the VA hospital, we started looking at other areas in town where we might be able to either repurpose, repurpose a historic building, or go through and do a infill housing development. We have not done much what we would call a greenfield housing development, where we'll take ag land and convert that over to a subdivision. There's developers that do that, but we've kind of found a niche in either historic renovation or in infill, what we would call infill. So taking existing underutilized city lots that have infrastructure already available to them and putting a housing product there. So that's not here to, very long-winded way of me saying that we're here today to talk to you about your city-owned land at 8th and Prospect, and determine if there is support at the council level for us to go through and develop that into a housing product. There's a variety of state funding sources that we could tap into, for houses there. I always have the disclaimer that we are not low-income housing developers, so we would not be using, like, if you're familiar with the LIHTC program, we utilize moderate income housing opportunities, so like the MIH grant, possibly an RHID, but we would look at a variety of state resources and, leverage private funds from our investors and from banks to develop a housing product there. I did include, so in the packet, there's some pictures of some, like craftsman style homes that we have built. So we would envision the product that goes in at that location being similar to like the pictures that you've seen on page 3 of our packet. More of a single level, single family or duplex type product, open living concept, probably between 14 and 1,600 square feet. And then we did also have an architect take a look at the site. I do need to add that the site plan, we have not done much due diligence on this. We've just kind of taken a high level overview of the site. So what's possible here? So this is that you have a site plan in your packet that I think shows 12 housing units. So a mix of duplexes and single family homes. And so if you were interested in advancing this discussion with us further, we would be looking at a concept similar to this.
What page are you, I don't,
Oh, sorry.
It's really deep. It's a 39-page document. It's really pretty far back.
So in your packets, I included the housing assessment tool.
Right, you gotta go past.
Which scan in first.
5-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty far down. Took me a while too.
Sorry, so not page 3.
Well, page 3, so it's in there, just when I scanned it in, it was,
Sure. So yeah, that's gonna include the housing assessment.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
yeah, and the read, Mayor, if I may. Sure. I also included the housing assessment tool, which we did earlier this year, thanks to your blessing. But that's, our findings using the housing assessment tool mirror what his findings were as well, which is, all the feedback we got from area employers, is that they need housing. That's a consistent feedback that I got from almost everybody, from the school district to the hospital, to Cashco, I've been talking to him, to the prison, to the manufacturing facilities at Carrasco and others. It is a high priority for us.
And it's difficult, I know Ellsworth is not a small community, it's much bigger than Alma, where we've done, I live in Alma, we've done some housing development there. But all areas of our state, even in Manhattan, but especially in areas that are, under 30,000 in population, it is difficult to develop housing, and we've realized that right now, there's several resources available at the state that help make it possible. But even then, we have to leverage our vertical integration model. If we had to go out and hire an outside, GC, an outside property manager, and an outside real estate firm, like all of that stuff just really adds and compounds to the cost. So we're able to utilize some of those efficiencies to help deliver a product that we don't have to charge $500,000 for a single family home. Not that there's probably a need for that housing as well, but that housing is at least easier to develop. The housing that we try to develop is, designed to be affordable for people that make a normal average income, not your top end. And what we've also realized is that, the LIHTC program, the low income housing tax credit, that serves kind of the low end of the spectrum. That serves the people that maybe don't have a job or have part-time jobs. And then the high end of the market is still able to be served by, regular housing developers. You're still able to go through and make money on that. But the middle of the market is where we try to specialize, and it can be a difficult, market to deliver a quality product. And that's, at the end of the day, we also want to feel really good about the product that we're bringing online.
Okay, so, with that said, I know there are some concerns. So Jessica and, Tyler, have you heard Tyler Holloman's presentation?
Yeah, I've listened to it, and I think if they want to develop something, they can go buy something from somebody else, not city ground. That's just my take, and I'm not gonna support it if we're selling them land to do it. That's just my deal.
Okay, that's what we want to know. That's why I'm here. Jessica Coates, what are your thoughts?
I kind of am on the opposite side of Tyler. But not sold, like not 100% sold, like I like the idea. I like his presentation. And I feel like we need to chew more on it a little bit.
Okay. Anything else, Jessica or Tyler?
No, that's all I had.
Okay. Darcy, you had some concerns.
I do, I live actually right across the street from that lot. The traffic is not great in that, there's a lot of traffic that comes up and down those streets. So adding homes in there is a concern with traffic. We used to have soccer, and it was a concern with traffic and kids, and a lot of people use that as a park. They take kids down there, or kids can go down there and play that live on that side of town and without having to go too far from home. So for their homes, or, so that is my concern, is I don't feel like, I know we need homes in Ellsworth. I'm not denying that. I don't feel like that. I don't know how many to me, that doesn't seem like a big enough lot to get very many homes in. But B, I just don't feel like I just feel like you're taking away from an area that people do use for recreation, taking their dogs, playing baseball with their kids, that kind of thing. So that's my concern is traffic. There's just a lot of traffic that comes up and down all three streets around that lot. So that is one of my concerns.
Can I?
Yeah, go right ahead, yeah.
If we were to incorporate more green space, would that change your input at all? When we were looking at this, we said, okay, this is a full city block. So even though I know it seems like it may not be huge, but it is a city block size.
Right.
Maybe,
I don't know. I guess living down there I've lived down there for 20-some years, and the traffic concern is just really, when my kids were little, I was concerned with traffic. We have neighborhood kids, and more traffic just concerns me.
Okay. Yeah, very good. Wayne, Darcy, you done?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Wayne.
Well, I have a good concern. Mostly, those streets are narrow there, and like Darcy said, the traffic is pretty intense over there. So, on-street parking, there's gonna be a problem there. I have some concerns about utilities. I don't know where the utilities are there, but with the layout, you basically have to have utilities all around it, because there's no easements through the property. So I'd want to see a utility easement through the middle of the property. Mostly for power, get power out of the front of the houses would be part of it. My biggest thing was the process that we need to follow with something like this, because the last one of these we did, we almost had to break up a fight between the city administrator and a local developer who wanted the same advantages as the outside developer wanted, and he wasn't given those. So we just need to follow a process, but I don't think that we're gonna use it. The rec department's ever gonna use it again, because the challenges that we had, no plumbing there, and and that sort of thing. I think it could be developed into an actual park. If we're gonna go that route, I think that actual development as a park needs to happen. So we've had people in wanting playground equipment placed there and bathrooms and things like that, which if we're gonna go that direction, that's the direction.
I do want to interject for a minute, if I may.
Well, here, are you, no, you go ahead.
Thank you. It is currently platted as a R2. That was passed by council back in 2000. It's called the Humboldt Flood District.
Yeah, I remember laying that out back in the day. And remember that was developed, but I couldn't remember. But now you say that, I remember it being.
And some of our back and forth has been over how to develop that process. My perspective is, and stealing from other cities, is have a concept developed before it comes to council, have planning commission and other people examine it beforehand. So that is a process that I'm probably gonna ask you to approve in the next coming months, so that depending on, so that future interactions of developers will be more defined and making them a little more predictable than the way I've been in this Tyler.
I'm in support of the building in town. I'm not sure you're gonna have the support on this.
Can I ask you, I mean, so there's not that much housing development in town, that serves up middle range. And, you know, I think Councilmember Tyler suggested that we just go buy something. Do you have a suggestion for where we could develop in town? I mean, it must not be economically viable, or somebody would have done it by now, I would assume.
I don't think the city needs to get involved selling it, because if it goes haywire, it's gonna look terrible on us, and that's just how it'll be. And I think I'd rather have a park there or something than what you got. Sorry.
You know, the other platted area in town that's not developed is the driving range. And Anthony Hopkins is part owner in that, and they have expressed some interest in developing.
I think we gotta move that golf cart shed, right? Is that?
Well, that's one of the challenges that I have with that is the plat does not match what is currently there. So that would need to be reworked. You would be the second developer if we were to discuss that option.
But, yeah, I mean, that's the only other platted area really in town that's not developed yet.
How many acres would you think that is, Wayne? How far back does it go?
It's probably 5 acres.
It's very small. Yeah, it's something.
You could put a lot of houses on there, though.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But it's not currently zoned residential?
It is,
It is.
Yes, but it's a driving range.
It would probably need a replat to do something like you're wanting to do, but, it is platted.
But if you want to have further discussions on other areas of town, will need to have another conference.
Sure.
And I will show you my entire zoning map and we'll brainstorm.
Yeah, I don't know what you gathered from this. You gathered, you know, and like Dustin said, you know, we had a concept, I think that would have been easier, and I was a little bit afraid, but we went ahead and moved forward this anyway, thinking that there were too many unanswered questions, but you kind of got an early initial gut reaction, so it's mixed, you know? So hopefully we've answered some of your questions. You know, you got a decent feel for a couple, clearly are against it.
Sure.
You know, and you've got 5 people, and you've got one council member is leaving in January, and another one will come on board, and another one's not here tonight, so you're still not getting a full picture of it all, but at least you've got something, so, yeah.
Absolutely. So, just to be clear then, for this concept at this location, Tyler's for sure a no, Darcy is probably a no. Wayne's.
I don't get a vote after tonight.
Okay.
But
Yeah, so you've got, yeah, and you know, it sounds like Jessica's kind of in between, and there you go, so.
Okay.
I still, to me, that's a possibility that it could still work.
from my perspective, though, I would like to request future that, because, the thing is that I don't feel that you got a full product to be able to make an educated decision on. And that's part of my concern in our back and forth has been that I would prefer that before it comes to council, that, we have the preliminary stuff already vetted, you know, planning commission, building inspector, et cetera.
Right. Agreed, but I think tonight was a little different after Christmas.
Yes.
you know,
And if I may ask one more
Sure.
question. So, if we were to try to proceed or try to, pursue this further, what additional details would council like to see other than the concept of the site plan? Is there additional due diligence?
Like what level income, like price wise, what are you looking at homes wise selling?
So if we utilize the MIH grant, it'd be, serving people that make between 60 and 150% of the area median income. So we would go and look at that and say, okay, what is an affordable house to that household? And those are typically people that make, like if you're a single person, you're between 36 and 96,000 a year, so it's a pretty broad range. But we would look at the median of that and say, okay, what can that household, afford?
And there is testimony that I have heard talking to people regarding that program where it has helped successful people who are trying to move up, get into the housing market.
Yeah, we've utilized that program a lot, and it's certainly not low income folks, there's a lot of, back in our development that we just finished up in Alma, we have a teacher, we have a principal, we have a manufacturing, worker, we have an county employee, they're all living there.
Any other questions for Tyler? All right, Tyler, thank you so much, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you for coming down, Tyler. Safe trip back.
Yes, thank you. All right, next item on the agenda would be the approval of the 2024 CMB licenses. That includes Casey's, Quick Shop, Pizza Hut, Am-Fry, Drovers Hall of Fame, Coach and Four Bowling Lanes, Jean's Heartland Foods, American Legion.
Your routine approval of every year's CDs.
There.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the cereal and beverage licenses for 2024.
I'll second.
Councilor Scritchfield has made a motion to approve the 2024 CMB licenses. Councilor Hanson has seconded that motion. Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion carries. We approve those CMB licenses. Next item on our agenda is the approval to move forward with a KP&F retirement plan. The resolution for 2023 to, that's resolution 2023-14
And 50.
And 50.
and 15, sorry.
No, it just wasn't on there originally. it's fine.
This is
We've
nothing-
already gone over this, so this is just to approve it, right, and get it done?
Yes.
And there's two different approvals, Tyler. There's the first one, which is for the actual KP&F participation and resolution form, and the second one is the optional life insurance that goes with it.
Okay.
Okay. Does anybody have any other questions on that, or are we good?
Oh,
All right. Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve resolution 2023-14 and resolution 2023-15 as presented.
I'll second it.
Tyler's been a motion to approve resolution 2023-14 and 2023-15. Moving forward with the KP&F retirement plan. Councilor Scritchfield has seconded that motion. Any concerns? Any more details needed? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. We've gone and approved that. So we're moving on to department heads. We'll go in any order. So, Chief. Alpha, do you have anything?
I do not.
You do not?
I do not.
Amazing. All right, David, do you have anything? Usually got something, yeah.
No.
No, another.
Oh, do you have the copies of the drilled
Oh, yeah, the piping.
piping?
Oh, back here, yeah, I can.
Council, if you don't mind, I
Sure.
thought we'd show you some of the conditions of some of
Show
the
it,
pipes
yeah.
after our
Yeah, let's see that.
spaghetti, after all of our spaghetti, checkerboard across the town.
It is pretty interesting.
Yes.
Show and tell.
Yeah.
Show and tell.
Man, oh, yes.
Today's letter is P for piping. Now I can set them down and then pull them out.
These are pipes that we cut for that 10-inch. The hot cuts. This is the one that they're on, both of these are on web. They're not
Here, I'll show the group.
too bad of a shape, you know, they're, and then, so
So this is actually the cement line, right?
no, this is actually.
That's soft.
Scale to keep it from breaking, you know, so whatever, and,
Oh, it's so good.
so this is.
That protects the pipe.
On, third. Yeah, third and blade.
Is that corrosive?
I did not say that.
Protection, it's what you want on a pipe, so it doesn't, you know, if this goes away, then that's when you get more leaks and stuff. But, and then,
Can you show the crowd?
Let me show them.
I'll show the bigger ones.
I'm Vanna whiting these pipes.
so that's on Blake and third.
Blake and third.
Okay, this is where the splat panels. Okay, and what happens is it breaks off a little bit, and these little deals that are on here are called tubercles. And that's where the cast iron came off, and then it just forms another piece, so it covers it, so that like a barnacle.
Tubercles, not barnacles.
Yeah. This in here, this
I lost it.
Stanberry and Aiken. And
We've all been.
this is the like I said, this has really got a lot of coverage on it, which you don't want that much coverage. You want more like this kind of coverage and this kind of coverage.
Why is that occurring? Just age?
Yeah, that and probably just because it's closer to the main line,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and stuff like that, and so that's our last bet on that, and, you know, overall, the pipes look pretty good, you know, when you cut them out. And stuff, so, yeah, I forgot all about that.
But doesn't the pipe in front of the funeral home?
But yeah, there's a lot of orange.
So yeah, there's a balance. Water is either corrosive or it's scaling.
Right.
So you want it on the scaling side, because if it's on the corrosive side, it eats the pipes and it starts eating the joints out of the pipes, which some of those have lead in them. It starts eating the copper pipe, so.
Yeah.
That's why we want it on the scaling side, so you get this instead of.
And that's why we try and that's what you call, that's the linear index of the, you know, you want the positive of the linear index instead of the negative, because every time you go negative, then it gets just taken off. And then you go back to positive, it takes a long time, but, you know. Yeah, so. Yeah,
Very cool, thank you for doing that, yeah.
Thanks.
Take it all in, or?
Yep.
yeah, we got them all in, it's just taking time to fill the hole back up.
Yeah. So the best weather in that either.
Yeah.
Very good. Thank you, David. Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah. That's cool. All right, Ralph, do you have anything?
Round one, yeah, you know.
He wouldn't be here if he didn't pass.
Yeah.
Called out.
Alan, were you covering that?
Yeah. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
One name again.
So, all right, basically what I've got here is, as we come down toward the end of the year, and in the budgeting and what we've, you know, what we expended out for the year and what we've got and some of the plans that we've got, what I'm actually here to ask you is there's a plan that goes on, but when we originally purchased the aerial fire truck, it was on a 10-year note. That basically was just a little over $15,000 a year that was in payments. We've made the payment for 23. We have 2 payments left. What I'm asking, and with a little bit of explanation, is if it would be possible, because what I have left in my budget for this year, I always have things that I can say that I need, I always have things that I want, but I have a plan, and that is I have enough left in this year's budget
that if you would approve it, I would like to go ahead and pay next year's payment. It's an exact amount of $15,117.10. I have enough that is in my budget for this year that I would be able to do that. That would leave us just one more payment to have the aerial that's paid for. And you say, well, why am I doing that? Why am I not doing some other things? Because my concern is, and you've heard it before, is we desperately, you've heard my concern about the engines and whatnot, and that's obviously there. But my immediate one is the issue with our main tanker that we lost a little over a year and a half ago. And at the time, there was not the funds that was there to take care of that. And so what I have been doing is we have been fixing equipment that we have, and I have been able to go ahead and purchase some of the equipment that would be necessary to actually equip the replacement of that when we get it, because we are going to get one come one way or another. I've even had conversations with some of the oil field guys. I've even had conversations about leasing one, because if ISO shows up and they look at our haul water capability and they realize that I'm off the mark by 20%, that's not gonna bode well. And they typically do those anywhere between the 5 to 3 years, and we're in that window. They will give us a notice and let us know when they're coming. But ultimately, the reason that I would like to do that is, number one, I have the money that's there in there, and we do owe it. And my own personal thinking is, when I borrow money, I'm generally paying ahead. That's just how I function. I like to get ahead, and that's kind of my thinking. So we've been conservative throughout the year. We've done okay. I have the money that's there to do it. I would like to go ahead and pay actually 24's payment out of the 23 budget. What that would actually enable me to do then is, with the equipment that I have been able to save and the equipment that I've been able to purchase, that involves lights, radios, pumps, fittings, nozzles, and whatnot, that in next year's budget, I would actually have enough money to buy a new tank for a truck if we can find one. And then the kickback would be, it would be the possibility then of having that conversation with the council about if I'm able to find one, and I'm talking mainly about the military HEMTs. We have one in service. It was one that I located a year ago. The government is not turning them back. They're all in private hands, and they're being bought up and they're vanishing, but it is a truck that is designed for that kind of an environment. So there is an end game to it, but it's also the fact that I do have the money there. I do like to pay ahead. We do owe it. It does come out of my budget. And so it would pretty well just about put us right down to the line of where we need to be. And since it's over the 10,000, I need the council approval. But that's really what I'm asking for tonight, is I would like to take the remaining amount that I have left in my budget, rather than, I've always got equipment stuff that I need and want, but I'm like, we owe this. That would get us either a year ahead, and we could either say, okay, next year we want to pay it off early and be done with it, and maybe look at, the last truck that I found was 55,000 for the HEMT, and say, okay, could we do something very similar to that on a very short term? There's not gonna be enough in the budget to do just that, but that's what I'm looking at. I just personally, I don't spend a lot till I really am justified in needing it, and if I can, I like to pay ahead. And so that's what I'm actually asking you is with that bigger picture there that gives us some options, is, hey, with this there, I would actually have enough money in next year's budget, if we could find something and with the council approval, that I would have everything to equip the truck and have enough money in my budget to do the tank, and I would just be looking at a truck. Just for a little bit of backdrop, I have visited with some of the oil service guys, because they're the ones that have it. Most of those are simply heavy semis. They're not 6-wheel drive. They're not 8-wheel drive. I can find trucks that have the water capacity, and out of the oil field stuff. And even used ones of those are anywhere from the 100 to 120,000, but they're not 6 and 8-wheel drive. They're not, and that's really what we need, because of where we go. But my main request for tonight is, would you be okay with me taking the 15,000 and change 15,117.10? I talked with Angela, and taking that money out of the 23 budget, paying that payment, that is actually the 24 payment, That leaves us just one more payment, and then that 10-year note on the aerial would be paid off. That's actually my main request. But I feel that it will free us up to deal with some things in the future. That's my main request.
I don't have that.
Wayne? Jessica and Tyler, are you okay with it?
Fine with me.
You're okay?
This is good.
Okay,
Permission to, or request for a motion.
okay.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we allow the fire department to make an advance payment on the aerial truck with this year's budget amount.
Councilor Scrivfield has made a motion to allow the fire department to make an advance payment on the aerial truck using the 2023 budget. Councilor Hanson has seconded that motion. Any questions or concerns?
What's the amount again?
The amount that she gave me the other day was $15,117.10.
For $15,117.10. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? All right, motion carries. Very good.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.
All right, so any other department heads here that I haven't seen? Nobody? Okay. City attorney, do you have any comments? None, okay. City clerk?
Got anything either?
Okay. City administrator?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple of things. One, I apologize for the holes all over the place. I've got one person out due to personal leave and holidays. So the first week we get back, we'll start working on closing those up. Thank you for your patience. I've asked a lot of the water department. The goal is to show the citizens that we are making progress and replacing things and restoring normal procedural things we should be doing with valves is one of those major responsibilities. So I commend the water department is in the process of trying to do what I asked them to do. They had multiple breaks, as you know, and as I've included in my reports. So I thank you for your patience as we get that stuff, get caught up on all that. I also wanted to mention that I had a powwow. I wanted to thank John Hobbywalks for going with me. We had a couple of concerns that we had to confront regarding the multi-use path. And thanks to John's help, we've confronted those. And so I'm really appreciative of that. And I also wanted to show you that I'm keeping an eye on our projects and making sure that they run smoothly, and our partners have been pretty good at helping us facilitate that. Other than that, I just wanted to thank the staff. I've really appreciated the year that you've given me. I'm not joking in my emails, my hallmark expressions and writing, that I really do appreciate you all for allowing me to represent you. I'm honored, and I will continue to do my best. I think I'm done. Mr.
Very good. All right, Tyler, do you have anything?
I really don't, other than, go Raiders.
Stop it.
All right, Jessica, do you have anything?
Okay, State Bowl game, 5:45 or 4:45 tomorrow night.
Go Cats.
Go Cats.
Pop-Tart Bowl, very good. Anything else, Jessica?
No,
Okay.
I don't have anything else.
Darcy?
Nothing other than Rock Talk Jayhawk.
Stop it.
They played last night. They won.
Congratulations.
The advanced grateful.
Advanced weight ball. Ooh, there's some games tonight, okay. All right. Okay, anything else, sir? All right, Wayne.
I just have one thing, I think. So I have seen some of the planning and some of the reporting that's coming. We'll see if this is gonna work. So I've seen some of the planning and some of the reporting that's gonna be coming to the council regarding some of our long-range planning. And there are some dollar figures that are gonna scare people with the kind of work that we need to do. And that's because we haven't done work in the county or in the city for a long time regarding water and sewer, especially. So there's some plans coming forward to spend some money, and I just want everybody to be careful and we need to spend the money, we need to spend money. We haven't spent it in a long time, and work needs to be done. So be careful. You know, one of the things, there's a piece of equipment, one of the things in the plan is to do major work at the sewer treatment plant. That thing is not keeping up with the demand. Every lagoon system in Kansas is failing because of the algae and the change in the weather. It's not killing off the algae in the winter, so we have a full growth of algae in the spring. So some of the plans are to deal with that situation, and with that, be mindful of spending any money before that comes about on the sewer treatment plant. Because there's equipment out there that's at the end of its expected lifetime, and to make major upgrades to that equipment before a major upgrade to the whole facility might not be the wisest thing to do. So, you know, also, I was hoping, I didn't know where this talk on the property was gonna go, but one of the things to keep in mind is that when people want to develop and they need services, we, as part of our franchise, we guarantee service to water and sewer. That doesn't mean that we have to pay to extend water and sewer into developments. That is the responsibility of the developer to pay for that, and then they can add it onto the price of the property, or it can be done by specials to pay for that installation. So, you know, my parents, when they bought the Walker plant on the edge of town, they didn't have sewer service, so they paid to have sewer extended, city sewer extended to the property, and that's the way it's supposed to work. So, I thank you all for the last 8 years, and I thank the citizens for putting up with me for the last 8 years. So, we'll be glad to see what happens from here on. So, thank you.
Thank you, Wayne. Anything else? No, anybody? Okay, so, that said, get in touch with Dustin in the next couple of weeks, if you could get in touch with Aaron. You know, I want to make sure Wayne leaves knowing that we appreciate his 8 years of service, and we kind of got something little, and I thought, right after that, I thought, that's not enough. It's just not enough. And so as we kind of, I've got an idea, I'm gonna feed it to Dustin, but if you got better ideas, I like yours better. And then we can kind of have a discussion of what do we do for people moving forward, because that includes Darcy, Jessica, Tyler. To me, it's, you do 2 terms, you know, you get treated like royalty, because I think we want to promote people running and people sticking with it. We got the Citizens Academy, we're trying to build that. So part of it, we need to treat them right as they leave, for whatever reason, you know, whether it's voluntary or, you know, election or whatever. So we certainly appreciate what you've done. I mean, it's not gonna be something that's ever forgotten. I mean, it's a contribution that has been impactful for sure. And so as we do the changeover in January, that'll be the big event, you know, but we don't want to lose sight of all that Wayne's done, you know. So as you have that conversation with Dustin, be thinking about your own selves. And, you know, I remember, you know, I thought Rusty did a great job. He gave Mark a lifetime membership to the golf course. Well, not everybody likes golf. So, you know, you gotta think about what do we do for people, but we really want to promote that. And so I'll throw an idea out there to you, and by January the 8th, is that our next meeting?
Yes, sir.
You guys talk to him, and you got a better idea, and Dustin's like, I like that better, then that's what we're gonna present Wayne with. So, don't have to make a big deal of it. So, wanted to segue into what Wayne was saying. The other thing too, I talked to Shelley Bopat about, doing some kind of referendum in the November elections. The November elections represents probably for a lot of us, a very unique opportunity. There are gonna be a lot of people voting. It's a presidential election. I believe the sheriff's job is gonna be up for election. So there are a lot of different things, a lot of nexuses that are, if there is such a word, coming together at that moment. There's gonna be a lot of people out there voting. It would be a great opportunity to put something in front of them. We talk about needing infrastructure. We talk about needing these things. What a great opportunity to say, here's what we need. What do you want to do? And, you know, if people say no, they say no. And we've talked a lot about some preliminary ideas. And if you say no, but you're giving people the opportunity. You always want to say, here's the opportunity, and let them say no. So That said, she needs a packet to her 90 days before the election, so that works perfectly with what Ralph's talking about. You know, we go through the budget process as much as we can, and if we want to put something in front of the voters that's substantial, be substantial, something far more than we've talked about the last couple of years, we need to have everything to her 90 days out, which would be August. And so we've had that discussion. They want to know what it is. We don't know what it is at this point. I'm just throwing it out there like, hey, we kind of got to get started on that so we can get something in front of them. If we want to do that, you may not want to do that. So, and that's really all I had. And I don't think we had an executive session planned tonight. So unless somebody has anything else, we can go ahead and wrap this meeting
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
up. All right, Counselor Coats has made a motion to adjourn. Counselor Hatchin has seconded that motion. Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. We are adjourned.
Nobody's ever opposed to adjournment.
Good, good.
Maybe, yeah, no, I don't think so. Why would you ever?